all of you. As a poverty concern, it's a charity, and I have to welcome Ibrahim, who is the director of the poverty concern. So he will say something to you anyway.
Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil Muslimin, Nabiyyuna Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Welcome everybody. I say Abdi Nagaya. My name is Ibrahim. You know very well. I want to thank, first of all, the Met who make happen these events. This poverty concern, we are based here in this building. Almost we are working with community 12 years. And we are funded by Met Police at the moment. Also, we are running at the moment another 3 projects. Why we are here today. The main reason we are here today is police recruitment. We are helping the Met Police, and we want to welcome the team outreach workers.
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. We are not very experienced presenters, but we are trying our best to at least tell you and inform you or give you the proper information. I first have to welcome, to thank Mr. Ghani and Mr. Steve for the long time they took explaining the police of this country we live in, and this country, after many years, really we enjoy living in it, and we have really become part of it. It's a country which welcomed us very well. It's a country that made us part of it, really. And since this country made and helped us to be part of it, we have to be part of it in every way. We have to be part of the community of this land. Security is one of the most important things in life. We have security in this country because of the police department. Without security, you won't have peace. So you enjoy having peace and security in this land, but you don't want to be involved in being part of that security. That is not really. We have to be part of it. We have to be part of every part of this country. We have to be part of the council. We have to be part of the cleaning thing. We have to be part of the management. We have to be part of even the ruling bodies. We have to be have an ambition of becoming, maybe 100 years later, prime ministers of this country. We should be part of it. Especially we have to start from the security, and we are trying to recruit police, helping police to be recruited, really, some of our community to be recruited as police officers. We know what we face when we tell our son, go and become a police officer. Strangely, my son is a very intelligent boy. He just didn't finish the university. And when he didn't finish university, I told him he's a very intelligent man, to be really part of the police officers. And he chose to be a receptionist in a desk, a GP desk, which which of the every job is good, but some of them are really good for yourself and for the society. I have to welcome here Mr. Mahmoud Rahim, who is a recruiting outreach, and he has a long experience with police recruiting and police development. So I welcome you, Mahmoud.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and it's primarily the Somali community and those of us who are Muslims. I wish you a belated Eid Mubarak, and I hope it was a good one for all of you. As Brother Abdi has said, I'm from the Met Police Outreach Team, and my role currently is to recruit police officers and police staff. And it's important that we get a police service that is representative of London. It's really important. The Somali community has been here for many years, many decades, but primarily in the last 30 years, we've seen a lot of Somali people come into the community. But out of a service of, say, 50,000, I can count on one hand how many Somali officers we actually have, and including females as well. So I also have, in my experience, over 30 years in the Met, people have concerns, lack of trust and confidence about stepping forward into working for the police service. And some of those are justified concerns, but some of those concerns can be addressed just by speaking to police officers today. And this is one of the great opportunities that you do have. One of the also concerns that I've also experienced is how can a Somali person from a female Somali become an officer? Purely because the issues around hijab, etc., and the cultural awareness that females have to have within the Islamic faith. I would also say here that the Met is an inclusive employer, and we make modifications to the uniform so you can practice your faith. 30 years ago in the Met, there was not one prayer room in any police station. So people had to pray outside. When they were breaking their fasts, they had to break it outside, or sometimes at their desks or at the station. 30 years later, prayer rooms are part of police stations, purely because we've seen the amount of communities that are coming in. I remember once I was at a building, we had 6,000 people in it, and I asked, well, is there a prayer room? And the person told me, there's no prayer room. So I said, you've probably got about 300 to 400 Muslims in this building, and it would be nice to have a prayer room. And if you can't have a prayer room for the Islamic faith, have a faith room. There's other people of different faiths as well. This has become policy. Yeah, so trust and confidence in the communities have to be increased. Stepping forward as officers and staff is really important. I would also give you another story. About 15 years ago, I had a Somali volunteer. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And he was on the front counter at North London Police Station, and I asked him to stand there and receive the customers and the people that wanting a service. On that day, we had the whole station office crowded with Somali people, purely because they wanted to know and speak to someone who could understand them. They were reporting crimes, they were reporting issues that would never have been reported had he not been there. In fact, on the day, we didn't even have the resources to deal with it. But he eventually became an officer. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was a flag bearer for the community. Everyone would approach him. Everyone would see him as a role model, as someone to trust. That's why it's important that consider it as a career. As my colleague Stephen and Ghani has mentioned, we have non-uniform roles. Some people see the non-uniform roles as a step before they become officers. And sometimes they take a little bit of a mental leap to actually get to that uniform. It's not difficult, it's not easy, I'd say. There's a lot of difficult hurdles, but you may surprise yourself. Some people say, this is not for me. I've got peer pressure. I've got issues around the community. I might have a previous conviction. Previous convictions may, in most cases, can prevent you from joining, but have the discussion, and that's the point of today. With poverty concern, Brother Brian and Brother Abdi has brought us all here today to have these discussions, and whatever we discuss today, spread it and cascade it into your community. It's a chance that I would say in the last 30 years hasn't existed. The pathways to joining the Met have never been easier. So have a good discussion today. It's your opportunity. It's your chance. Thank you very much.
Hello, microphone, it's not working with me. I have to thank again Mr. Ghani, Steve, and Mahmoud, and I have to call Shirley Grant here.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome, and thank you as well for all attending. Firstly, there are women within the Met, and there isn't enough representation to start with. I know Brother Ibrahim has mentioned that, we're looking for young males, but it's not just males, it is females, and we need to have that representation. And having the representation will allow us to change the communities that we do live within. It will allow us and our families to excel in areas where maybe you hadn't considered it before. And I think mostly it is, if today you don't take away from the fact that you would want to join the Met yourself or consider your child doing so, it's just maybe just changing that perception ever so slightly. We know that it is a long journey and it's one that we're just embarking on now, but working within the outreach team has given me some true insight as to what the public's perception is. And I had my own as a female coming into the Met. You've got to be honest of what you see the Met as being, as maybe a white male-dominated place of work. But I thought, let me try. And since I've been here in 3 years, I'm actually on my third role now. And it's just to show that, not only as a woman, but a woman of colour, that there is space for us within the organisation. And, you need to just be telling your children, your daughters, your sons, that now is the time to apply, because while there is an offer of upskilling our community, then we should just take the opportunity while it is given to us, because, we're talking loud from within the organisation, within the outreach team, but we need more people on board to be able to basically echo the message that we are conveying. So I just wanted to say thank you. Women do exist in the Met, and if it's anything that you want to consider or have any questions, then please ask us later on today. But thank you so much.
Let me give Steve again, because most of the experience we need comes from people who are in the experience. So I'll give you Steve.
Oh, you're right there. What I plan to do now is watch a video, just give you a little insight of the police and any questions. If you've got any more questions now, I'm happy to answer. But I think we decided to step ahead with the video, and then we can show you, or go into depth about the pathway of joining the police, or any questions you have of that. Is that okay? We're happy with that? Touching on the female part as well, you mentioned about get your sons. It's not about your sons. Within the police as well, I'll tell you, with my time when I was on the response team of 40 officers, the best officers I worked with were females, okay? I'm not just saying it because I'm here, but that's the truth. And I'm not one to kind of lie. The best officers I've worked with are females. I'll tell you why. Because I go to a job, say for example a pub fight or some sort of fight. If I was with Sammy or Sarah, they go first. I'm there. I know I'm a big guy. I'm really friendly, but But they go. The man is less likely to hit them, and they can diffuse the situation. And every time I went with them, no issues at all. Yes, obviously, when you join the police, and this is the more in-depth things, you come like a bit of a family. We spend more time with each other than our partners, wives, husbands and stuff. So you have a close relationship. But so my point being is, females just as good as doing a police officer role or any role within the police. Not because they're female doesn't mean, but they're just as good, more than capable of it. Okay, so don't think you have to be a big guy like me. I'm a big guy, but I'm BFG, big friendly giant. But females have got a key role to play, and in this society we need more females to represent and do a good job as well. Okay, so don't just think it's all men to do it, because it's not. Okay, we're in a different generation now, moving forward from that part, and everyone's equal and we can all do it. Okay, so don't think just your son's going to do it. Encourage your daughters as well. Okay.
Just something criminal, and they not finish the education or those.
The kids,
yeah, they can come in police officer. They can apply.
So the question here is, if they've got, I think, a past criminal record, can they join the police? I think before.
No, the question is, boys and girls who really failed the GCSE and didn't proceed to the A level, are they allowed to join the police office? That's what they are asking.
So I'll answer the first question, just around the GCSEs. So if you don't have the qualification, then as we mentioned earlier, you can embark on a free English course to be able to get the marks to be able to join the pathway. But that's a 12-week program first, but that is available. So it is a free course that you can join to be able to get the English qualification and then be able to join one of the pathways. And then to answer the question around previous convictions or cautions, so what I would say around that is, if we are all human at the end of the day, and we have people who may have had previous altercations with the police or hung around with a certain group of people, and if you have been cautioned, that will not prevent you from applying. Each case is basically assessed on a case-by-case basis. So I can only do an example of, if you were in possession of cannabis 3 years ago and you could prove that you haven't done that since, then it would be a consideration that you'd still be able to join the role. But the biggest thing I would say, as I have actually previously worked in vetting, would be just to declare everything, and they would be able to assess that. Because if you don't declare, then you'll be seen as being declare everything. Yeah, so you need to declare your associations. If you're aware that any of your family members may have had involvement with the police, then just declare everything, and then they will assess that on a case-by-case basis. But I think it should be clear to say that vetting is done to safeguard not only the person who is applying, but for the wider organisation. So it's not to say that you wouldn't be able to apply if you do have previous criminal occasions, basically, that may have occurred. You can still apply, but just ensure that you declare it.
I think the young man down here has got a question. So the question here is, if the family members had a criminal record, so like Jodie said, each case will be looked at case-by-case basis. Do you mind me? Yeah, so Jodie used to work in vetting, so that's her field, and she would know more about it. That's more knowledgeable than I am. But as she said, each case is looked on case-by-case basis. So if that person had an incident 5 years ago or 10 years ago and has been fined, then I think it'd be looked at. But it's someone else at a different level from me that will look at the situation and see, is this person safe to be in the organisation. So touching it, yes, large families. So I had a situation where I worked with a female and her ex-partner, who was the child of her son, and he wasn't the best character, let's say. And she told me that he'd done quite a lot of bad things. So I was quite surprised that she was in the police. She said what she did is she just told the police everything. So what he'd done, and they obviously got back to her, and they said to her, like, you know, what's the association? She goes, I don't mix with him. We've had a child together, but I don't have no contact with him. You know, whatever she told them, and her case was looked on, and she was in the police. So my point being is, be honest, because it comes under the police, are honest and integrity, and you don't want to be in a position where you've put nothing on the forms, and then in a year, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, it flags up, this person's related to you. Well, why haven't you put that on the form? How would you look then? So if you put it from day one, make the vetting or the police aware, it can be controlled, it can be looked at. So what I'm saying to say is be honest about associates who you're mixing with, family friends, family who've had been arrested or convictions from day one, because you don't want to be looking bad in the future.
Because he didn't accept me living in a box. So, welcome.
Could I steal your microphone? Could I steal it? Thank you. Hi. Oh, that's loud. Sorry about that. So I'm here from the council. My name's Leo. I work in community support around the PREVENT programme. So for those of you who don't know, PREVENT is the UK counter-terrorism strategy, and it helps basically tackle extremism and radicalisation in communities. So it's my job to go out and make connections with people like yourselves and with Ibrahim here, and eventually let you know what radicalisation looks like, the forms it can take, but also listen to your concerns. PREVENT, much like the Met, has had some bad press, not unjustified, but in a local area, we're trying to do what we can to make sure that we're listening to your concerns. So if you have any issues around hate crime or tensions in the community or just concerns you have which you think are worth knowing, please do get in touch with me. I'm here to listen to you effectively, so please feel free to get in touch. I didn't have anything prepared, so this is slightly a bit more awkward than their well-rehearsed speeches. But yes, so that's my role. If you do have any concerns, please let me know. Oh, and thank you, Ibrahim, for putting on this event and everyone being here today.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for Dr. Ibrahim. He invited me to this event. I'm very happy. My name is Ratib Al-Sulaiman. I'm from Bright Future Foundation. We support the local community here, the Arabic community as well. And we help the young generation, the youth. We help in food as well. We run a Felix project before. We support women. I'm very happy to be here, part of the community, because we all must work together to have a good, strong community. When I see some people from our community in the police, I will be very happy because it's very easy to approach and talk your own language. So if a Somalian police officer, he walk here, then all the lady, they can speak with him in the same language. So we have a language barrier, we have a culture barrier, we have a lots of things barrier. So if we recruit people from our community, it will be very useful and good for us in the long term, for the future time. So actually, Dr. Ibrahim say we support in the police to recruit people. I say we must support our children to be a police officer, to be part of the community. This is what we have to do. Educate them and tell them to be part of the community. Because if we're not part of the community, we will be isolated. We will be like part of the things. So we live here, we are British citizens, we must do something good for all our society. Thank you very much for Steve. Thank you very much for Mr. Mahmoud.